When I look at a person, I see a person, not a rank, not a class, not a title. I remember myself 2 years ago when I was in a conversation club with an American people who shared their negative stereotype of Arabs and Middle Eastern people. At that time, I was very mad and I started discussions and argument to correct this negative image that they have. According to a Longman dictionary, stereotype is a belief or idea of what a particular type of person or thing is like. Stereotypes are often unfair or untrue, racial, sexual, and cultural. Stereotype is a real issue that we face it all over the world and it bears in all aspects on our life. So, my purpose today is to revision and help you who tends to be stereotype even in their personal life. Therefore, in my speech, I'm going to mention the reasons and effects of stereotype as well as I'm going to suggest some solutions that might help us to avoid or at least mitigate it as we can. So, let's begin. Stereotype is just like to place people in boxes, drawing lines, creating sides. There is us and there is them. So why stereotype happens? Actually, it's created by our experiences that we later turn into the beliefs which we decided to follow even we don't think about it. Then we are constantly creating a mental models and stereotyping the words around us. And as the professor of psychology, Sam Summers, said, that we get used to categorize at a very young ages to see the world in terms of categories, so that we say objects, animals, furnitures, and a human. As a result, we have to rely on these varieties of cognitive shortcuts to get through our day. So, the first reason, as the professor said, was the way we think it creates stereotypes by categorizing people into groups. Secondly, the inferences we make create stereotypes, which is by assuming the person equals the role. And yes, this is so dangerous. Thirdly, the way we remember creates stereotypes by illusory correlations. And the last one is the things we hear create stereotypes. So what we learn from other and the border society, all these things affect on the societies and people mindset. And now, why people should mitigate stereotype? The most important thing, because stereotype will lead to very negative effects on our lives, such as playing a role in shaping our identities, since part of our identity is shaped by our placement in certain social groups. Also, the characteristics that caused by stereotyping are often exaggerated, inaccurate, and carry a very negative connotations. Now that we have discussed the reasons and effects of stereotyping, I'm going to suggest some solutions that might help to avoid and mitigate it as we can. But before I mention them, you have to know the most important keys to mitigate stereotype are, first and foremost, to acknowledge and understand that it happens and recognize that even those of us who are motivated to be fair-minded individuals fall victim to stereotypes. Now I will suggest some solutions that might help us to avoid it. 1. Get to know others who appear different from you. 2. Stop making snap judgments about others and assumptions based on normative or stereotypical notions. 3. What you have in common with other people, it might be more than you think. 4. Develop empathy for others. Try to walk in their shoes. Last one but not least is to educate yourself about different cultures and groups. So, today in my speech, I discussed all things that I can of stereotype. I discussed the reasons and effects of stereotype, and I suggested some solutions to avoid or mitigate it as we can. In conclusion, stereotype may destroy our lives. As more we tend to be stereotyped, as the more we lose. And remember, we all use stereotypes all the time without knowing it. We have met the enemy of equality, and the enemy is us. Thank you so much for watching me. I hope you get new information. Thank you.